Hello, my name is Nicole, and thank you so much for taking the time out to listen. First of all, in today's message, I want to address the unconscious programming that takes place to do evil. And this unconscious programming that some individuals are not aware that they do ends up bringing nothing more than discord, unhappiness, misery, whether in the short term or long term, for the individual who is doing it, as well as the individual's victims. I realize that a lot of times when these people who have come from abusive backgrounds become celebrities, it is because their past programming has made them the ideal candidate for power and control. So these stars who we scratch our heads and say, what is this person doing that makes them so great? This person isn't as talented as their circle claims. Why are they even there? It's because of programming. It's actually cheaper to deal with someone who's already been programmed similar to others who receive, shall we say, more expensive programming with doctors and psychologists and psychiatrists. Hey, why don't we just get a boy from the hood? I mean, some of the stuff that they went through is very similar to what happens in some of these rehabs and hospitals for the mentally insane, that for a time come up out of their insanity, and then they're standing before you singing and dancing and acting and all of these other things that we sit back and we don't know all of what that entertainer has gone through. But thanks to this movement, if you will, of truth telling and truth seeking, we're learning a whole lot. But here's the catch. At least this is what I found out as I was going through this journey of breaking down media manipulation and just discovering things about our entertainment industry, and God, of course, showing me some things. And I will tell you, it's nothing but God, because anytime you're seated in a quiet setting and information comes to you that you've never read, never seen before, and then when you type it in a search engine and it shows up, that's nothing but God. The entertainers and all that comes with them, Satan is definitely in control. And if you don't believe that, then you need to pay closer attention to the colors, the signs, the symbols, and the types of things that these entertainers do to show you who they are in support of. Their allegiance is to Satan. And this isn't no conspiracy. Their allegiance is to Satan. That's why God doesn't like us listening to certain music. That's why God doesn't want us to be a part of certain associations. That's why God will raise up all sorts of trouble if we try to step out and go somewhere or do something with someone. Suddenly it's not as smooth. Suddenly we're not able to get things done. Oh, we're short of cash. Oh, I was trying to, get connected with this person. The Lord says, no, you don't want to do that. Why? Let me show you. And in the spiritual realm, he shows you. Maybe in your situation, you don't see demonic entities like I do, but you know that something's just not right with some of these people you read about, you sit in front of, you break bread with. Unconscious programming that takes place because the one who's doing the programming, the trainer, the handler, has already been exposed, and there's parts of him or her that disappear when they are in the driver's seat teaching the passenger what to do. I mean, can you really have your complete mind when telling someone to do some very despicable things? Part of you goes off somewhere in the chambers of your mind because you don't want to face the reality that you're doing something illegal, or you're doing something that's awful, or something that had been done to you. So the ghetto celebrity, right? That one from the hood, wearing a suit, got a lot of money. Prime candidate to be controlled. Because why? Let me give you some things that I came across. And I'm going to just give you some made up, and I do mean made up scenarios, because people sometimes they associate everything that comes out of my mouth to be something that I'm directly connected with. Everything that I talk about, I'm not directly connected with. It's just that when God gives me some things, I will go ahead and refer to those things. And some people, it will resonate with them because God is using me to speak to them, because they can't hear from the Lord in the way that they would like. Or they may be a bit curious, but they're not willing to follow the Lord, but the Lord wants them to hear the truth. Okay? So once again, everything that I'm talking about in this audio does not relate to me. Everything that's in my book, Tell Me Mother You're Sorry, doesn't relate to my upbringing. And everything that's in Say Goodbye to Dad doesn't relate to my upbringing. Sometimes I note different things and I will let you know, and other times I won't. My books are people books, and this audio is a people audio, okay? So, the boy from the hood that went through much is very similar to that rich kid who was going through all sorts of things while living in a mansion on a hill, or out in the wilderness somewhere in a cabin, or wherever it was that his mother or father or both allowed some so-called family, but not necessarily biological family, to take him, to get him ready along with some others to be a superstar. The boy from the hood who doesn't have much, whose mom did all sorts of things to try to get some money. Before he got to a place where he recognized pain and rejection and abandonment and all of that, he went along with his programming. And some, as adults, still go along with their programming. Well, what kind of programming? That's what we're going to get into today. We're going to talk about the techniques that are used to get people to behave, to do the devil's work. They are unconsciously as well as consciously programmed to do ultimately Satan's work. Now, for some of you all who need a reminder of Satan, let us go to the scriptures. 1 Peter 5:8 and 9a. Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, right, doesn't say he's a friend, but if you look at some of these entertainers, you will swear that they are in bed with the devil, that the devil is their father. Well, you're correct. Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour, whom resist steadfast in the faith. Let's stay right there for a minute. So if he's walking around on this planet looking to see who he can devour, don't you think that he can get into the head of a family member or friend who is walking in darkness to recruit others to walk just like him? By using various techniques to get that individual to behave early on in life. So mom is in a relationship or dad is in a relationship where there's some fighting that's going on. And that boy from the hood, or that boy or girl from a rich area or mid-class area, but has a lot of stuff going on in the household. Before he or she even came out the womb, there was drama. Mom was getting hit, possibly kicked, bumped, shoved in her pregnant belly. There was loud music playing while that fetus was in the womb. There was loud yelling. There were things that she was stressed about. There may have been times where she ate some very nasty stuff that was messing around inside her amniotic sac, right? Causing the baby to move around and not feel so good. Oh, there was a lot that took place in that woman's pregnant belly. And this sort of thing is what a author talks about in her book, The Illuminati, How the Cult Programs People, by Svali. Interesting, huh? There's some similarities. No wonder the boy from the hood is already on that fast track. Okay, got his talented rap songs, what have you. He's got some connections in the industry, but he's got similar programming like the rich girl in Hollywood. No wonder they're paired up. Okay, so this infant who hasn't even been born yet is already in distress. This infant is already sickly. This infant is already yelling in the womb, already crying. One of my son's ears, from him holding his ears in the womb, and we saw it during one of the sonograms, or one of the visits, when they checked the belly and so forth. The sonogram picture revealed that he was holding his ears. Why do you think that newborn inside my womb was holding his ears? Because his mother had been in distress. Because his mother was arguing with the father. Because the mother was going through some challenging times being pregnant once again. Okay? And so his ears are marked. One time he asked me as a kid, he said, "Mom, why is it that my ears are curled up on both sides?" I said, "Because you were spending a lot of time in the womb holding your ears." Holding my ears, why? Because me and your father was arguing. Before he was even out of the womb, he was already stressed. Then he was a baby that had screams that was louder than all my other children. Screaming so loud when he cried. He didn't just cry, he just screamed. He had those kind of screams that would drive you mad. And there were times where I had to leave that baby right where he was at and take just some time out for myself.